Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Parlay Revival. Those of you who have been following will know that we were working in Guatemala on my boat and I was running a little bit low on cash, so at the perfect time the captain of this boat, who's my friend Mick, he emailed me, or he texted me and he was like, can you come do a little bit of work on the super yacht? And I was like, yes, like I needed the money, it was at the perfect time, so here I am. And while I'm here I thought we'd do a quick little episode of what it's like to actually work on these boats.
Hurricane Irma boats tossed. Here we are at this marina.
Hi, my name's Colin. I used to be a chief engineer on super yachts, but gave it all up to buy a hurricane-damaged Lagoon 450. My friends and I are fixing it up as we go, and are determined to circumnavigate the entire planet. So subscribe if you want some inspiration to live life to the fullest. 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than by the things you did. So what are you waiting for?
A lot of you will remember Matt. He's been working on Parlay with me down in Guatemala. He's always wanted to work on super yachts, so he's come along to Florida with me, and he's ended up working on this boat for a couple of months. So he's going to help me film this episode. Yeah. When we're not on charter, we get to wear a pretty comfortable t-shirt and shorts like this. But when the boss is on or we're out chartering, we have to dress like this. This boat is a 157-foot Trinity built in Mississippi, by the way.
This is the sky deck. The boat's about to make a mission.
Why is your shirt so dirty?
No, it's yours. The boat's about to go to the Cayman Islands, so everything's stowed away, as you can see, and tied up in case it hits any rough patches along the way, so nothing ends overboard.
So this is where we keep the other dinghy. It's not really a dinghy, it's got a 300 horsepower Yamaha on the back as well. There's a jet ski here and a stand-up jet ski, and this is where we do our pull-ups.
How often have you come to do the pull-ups?
And there's 2 more jet skis up on the bow here, because who doesn't need 4 jet skis? This is called the control room, and this is where the main switchboard is that the power comes in from the dock. So we've got big short power cables that bring 480 volts into the boat, and then behind here and downstairs is what turns that into the 110 that we can use around the boat. My cabin's in here, so it's really convenient for when we're underway and stuff. So I'm right here in the control room. I can see the engine room right there. I'm pretty lucky I got a big double bed all to myself here. And a nice big TV. We're doing quite a bit of work in here getting the boat ready for Cayman Islands, so it's pretty messy, but I'll show you around anyway. We've got 2 of these generators, they're 100 kilowatts each. They obviously power the whole boat. One of these can power the boat on its own, but when we're maneuvering in marinas and stuff like that, we like to run 2 generators just in case one breaks down. We've got 2 Caterpillar 3512s. They're 2,250 horsepower each, so plenty of power there. There's 3 chiller units, and that's the air conditioning for the entire boat. What it does is it takes chilled water, cold water, and pumps it around the boat. And there's air handlers, and that's what cools down each space in the boat. So this is the brains and the guts of the aircon unit right there. These are the water makers. They produce 2,000 gallons per day each. This is sort of the gauges for all the sewage treatment plants. So this boat's got a type 2 sewage treatment plant. So it takes all the black water, the sewage, and it treats it, aerates it and chlorinates it. And by the time it comes out of the boat, it's pretty fresh, so we're allowed to run this in the marina in Florida anyway, and no dramas. This is the main monitoring system for the boat, so this is where we can see tank levels, we can see any alarms that come up will come up on here, we can see how much fuel we have, we can transfer fuel using this, we can pump bilges using this, we can turn on the fire pumps, This is kind of like the brains of the boat here. This is a fuel purifier, so it takes the fuel and it uses centrifugal force to really clean the fuel, and any water or dirt or any particles in there get thrown out to the sides, and what comes out of here is pretty much pure diesel fuel, and then that goes into our day tank and that feeds our generators and our engines. This is the central hydraulic system on this boat, so all of the hydraulics except for the crane right up on the bow come from this unit here, and there's two high pressure pumps, and it pumps hydraulic fluid at 2,500 psi all around the boat, and that controls things like the windlass, the sun deck crane, the capstans at the back, the bow thruster. All of that comes from here. There's a reservoir on top, the pump's down there, and then there's the heat exchangers down the bottom, so that oil needs to be cooled because it gets so hot. So what is it actually like to work as an engineer on these boats? It depends on the boat, it depends on the owner, it depends on the itinerary. A huge part of it is also the crew. So if you've got a cool crew and a cool captain, I think it's one of the best jobs in the world. If any of the above isn't good, it can be a pretty tough environment to live in. In terms of the engineering, it's pretty challenging. There's a lot of systems that you just saw. That's not even half of it really. That's just what's in the engine room, but you have to make sure all of this stuff's running at all times, and especially if there's guests on board, if you've got a charter or something, any one of these breakdowns can just stop a charter, and that's catastrophic when you're talking about the amount of money that people are spending to do these charters. So there's a big responsibility. You have to really have a close relationship with the captain. He's got to trust you and you have to trust him, and if you've got that good combination happening, then like I said, it's an amazing job. We were coming back from Key West and we had a problem with our shaft seal, which I'm going to show you now. Hey guys, so I've got a little bit of a situation on my hands. We're just coming up from Florida Keys, going back to Fort Lauderdale, and got a high water level alarm on the bilge in the engine room. Just ran in there, had a look, and I found that the shaft seal is leaking into the engine room, so it's just pouring water in. So to fix the problem, we're running back to the marina now. I'm just monitoring it and managing the water coming in at the moment, but as soon as we get there, I'm going to dive in the water and I'm going to duct tape all the holes on the stern tube and at the end of the cutlass bearing right in front of the propeller, and hopefully that'll seal the shaft tube enough for me to pull the old seal off the front and replace it. So there's already a spare seal on the shaft itself, so I have to just undo the housing, take the old seal off. Hopefully all my duct tape stops water coming in too much, cut that seal off, install the new seal which is already on the shaft, and then do up the housing, and then hopefully problem solved. But it's kind of pretty critical stuff there, because there's nothing except that seal stopping the ocean coming into the engine room, so it's kind of a big deal. But as soon as we get there, we're going to try and get it done. Well, that appears to be a job well done. Our duct tape job on the shaft tube down there left a lot to be desired. As soon as I pulled the seal out, the water just started pouring into the engine room, so that's that. Cheers guys. Hey mate, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Michael Brown from Sydney, Australia. I grew up in Oyster Bay, a little place near Cronulla.
Yeah.
A little bit of a river rat as growing up, and loved the beach. Moved away, went to London, did the typical Aussie thing, and did 2 years there. Got a job as a boat builder,
Yeah.
which took me around the world, all through Europe, and then knew how to build them, so I figured I might as well learn how to sail them.
So, you've been the captain for about 10 years. How long have you been on this boat?
This boat on and off about 3 years, I think now.
Yeah, right. So this boat's for sale. How much is it for sale for?
We're for sale for around the $13 million mark.
And if you and I sell it, how much commission do we get?
Oh, we'll talk about that later. You've got to bring me a buyer first.
And if they want to charter it, how much is it to charter?
In busy season, we what full price is $180,000. slower periods.
Is that per week?
Per week.
Yeah.
Plus APA, plus your fuel, plus your booze.
So all of this is extra, so that
That's extra
180
on top of
gets you the
boat
boat
fee.
and the crew.
That's correct, yeah.
I think a lot of people might be interested in what, how much does it cost to run a boat like this per year or
The
per
rule
month?
of thumb, it's going to be 10% of the value of the boat over 4 years. So if you say we're 13 million, you could budget for 1.3 million a year.
Shit.
Over 4 years, you'll spend that. You might not spend that every year, but over 4 years, eventually you'll need to do paint job or engine overhauls and stuff like that. So,
But and that's obviously changes a lot if the boat's cruising
yeah,
long distances.
absolutely.
You got fuel
Yeah,
expenses.
if you're a local boat that doesn't go far, you can knock that right down.
Yeah. Anything interesting
sure.
here?
So we've got Noble Tech here when you've got to fire it up. But normally that's Noble Tech, that's our backup to our chart plotter system. In case we've got radar here, 2 radars.
Who's in the engine room?
Intruders
What's going on here? Marcus has got the girls down there.
doing their safety briefing.
Yeah, is that what he calls it?
Radars here, X-band, 2 X-band radars. This is our monitoring system for all our alarms and sensors, fuel sensors and everything applicable with the boat. We've got Transar system, is our primary chart plotter. We've got wind, we've got depth, we've got camera systems from all around the boat. Telephone, so we can talk to you.
There we go, engine room on speed dial. And you've been up to Alaska a couple of times and whatnot. What's the worst sort of
I took a-
weather you've been in?
Worst weather was probably up around the Gulf of St. Lawrence. We were coming down from Norfolk to Virginia. We had a wedding to make, and the captain pushed through a double low depression that emerged on each other. We had 25-foot waves over the bridge, bowing into the bridge windows.
Serious?
If we had lost bridge windows, we would have lost all the equipment. We'd be dead ship up here driving from the engine
Far
room.
out.
So that was probably the worst weather I've been in.
That's heavy.
Beam me up, Scotty.
Alright, cheers mate. I'll let you go back to
All right, mate. All
doing
the
your
best.
captain stuff.
Carry on.
Oh, there's a cool TV that comes out of here. It comes up. So this is the dining area. Yeah, pretty self-explanatory. This is called the main salon, and this is where you'll find the guests hang out most of the time. Then down the stairs here, there's 4 guest cabins. There's 3 queen-size cabins with big queen-size beds, and there's 1 cabin with 2 single beds in it. Alright, let's go see what the chef's doing. What's up, brother?
What's going on?
What's happening?
Just unpacking one of the last loads for provisions for our month-long trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got a big charter coming up. How much food do you have to buy for this sort of stuff?
So we got 9 crew, we got 6 guests. So you figure it's a 10-day charter.
Yeah.
We got 3 meals a day just there.
Yeah.
And then we also have about a week prior to that of just crew, and about 4 days after coming back of just crew. So I'll take a look. Let's see, I've got about $4,000 worth of meat just in this front freezer alone.
Look at that freezer.
Everything organized so you can get it out when you need to. Doesn't freeze together. It's organized. You can see it. We got 2 other refrigerators here. We're just beginning to stock up dairy and some of the other goods. We'll have down at the bottom about
Look at those eggs.
500 eggs.
500 eggs. What do we got here?
This is disorganized now because this is the last of the crew stuff that'll be allowed in here once we finish provisioning. This will all be full with fresh produce.
We'll take care of that.
Yep. And the essentials for me personally. Gonna have good coffee. Shout out to Eternity Brand.
Guatemalan.
Oh yeah.
That's where Parlay is.
That's the good stuff.
Yeah. Perfect, man. I'll leave you to it.
Sounds good.
Thanks, brother. This is the crew mess. This is the only place we're really allowed to hang out. The best part is the snacks cupboard. Just all goodness. So if you're wondering what the cabins are like, they're very small, very tight. But Ryan's a cool guy, so I don't mind at all.
Shashi bathroom.
So this is our bathroom. We share cupboards.
What do we got here?
Not
Whose
much
is
happening.
whose?
Not much.
Whose is this one? This is
mine,
yours.
yeah.
Comb and contact lens.
And VW
Oh, and
fashion
VW.
wagon there,
There we
reckon.
go.
And then, yeah, a shower. Pretty small space, but
So you both can
manage.
fit in there, no problems, huh?
Here he is. You gonna be on YouTube?
I'm Ryan. I'm the deckhand aboard Rebel here. Sporting the Rebel gear.
I thought you were the bosun.
Yeah, I'm the bosun now, I guess.
So what's a day in the life of a deckhand? What's a standard day?
Waking up at 8. No, waking up at
7. If you're mad.
No, wake up at 7, smash a good smoothie.
Yeah.
Get some cereal. Usually every boat, they do a wash down just about every week. Stainless, if a boat has stainless, and every boat does, that's constantly got to get done. What else? All the cap rails.
Gotta wash tender.
Yep, tender wash downs.
Run the motors.
So you just wash shit all day.
Basically.
I know a lot of you are going to be wanting to know how much crew earn on these boats, so I'll address that quickly. I've seen as little as $2.5 grand a month for a junior stewardess or deckhand, and I've seen as much as $3.5 for a starting deckhand or a stewardess. I'm an engineer, so the way I got onto it was I did an engineering degree at university and realized I didn't want to work in an office, so I started working on boats, and I started as a deckhand, and then I worked up to a deck engineer, which is half on deck, half in the engine room, and then I became a sole engineer, which is when you're an engineer just on your own on a smaller super yacht. And then you're starting to look at chief engineer jobs where you get a second engineer working for you and a third engineer. You just work your way up the ranks. So it's a pretty slow process. It's really hard to say how much a captain earns or an engineer or a bosun, because every boat's so different. I'll attach a salary guideline in the description below, and that's kind of this generic spreadsheet that they put out, and you can sort of see, you know, a second engineer on a 70 meter might earn somewhere around this much. And the best part about it is that you don't actually pay for any food or accommodation because you're living on the boat. I met a guy who we played golf together in where were we? Antibes in France, and his captain was on $65,000 a month, working 1 month on, 1 month off. It was one of the biggest super yachts in the world, but if the owner likes you, you've got a lot of bargaining room to get your salary up as well. So you can get some extremely good salaries that way. If you make yourself indispensable, then your salary goes up. At the end of the day, it comes down to your ticket a lot. So what qualification you have determines what size boat you can work on. And generally, if you're working on a bigger boat in one of the senior roles, you're going to be on more money. You also have really cool days where you kind of get a day off, and you get to use some of the toys on board. It's always good to run the jet skis and run the tenders and stuff like that. Use the wakeboarding equipment, make sure everything works. And those are the days you really remember, and they make all the hard times really worth it. So we've finished fueling, and they're going to drop me off at the dock, literally just back up to the dock, and I just got to jump off. So I'm trying to find everyone to say goodbye.
Hi, you two.
Hey, bud. All the best. Nice to meet you, bro.
Likewise, dude.
All the best. Have a good charter. Marcus.
Good one.
See you, brother.
Safe travels.
All the best, eh?
Yes.
Take care of yourself. Go. It's a hug, buddy. All the best with the boat, man.
Another great experience working with you.
Hello, mate. Give us a hug.
I don't like advice, so I'll say see you later.
See you, mate. Thanks for everything, eh?
Thank you for everything, mate.
See you, Mick.
See you, pal.
Woo! How stoked am I get to go back to Parlay. That was really fun, really good crew, good boat. You always make a few new friends when you join a boat like that. But now it's time to go back to Parlay and start getting ready to cross the Pacific. So hope you enjoyed that, guys. Hit like if you like the video, and subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll see you next week. Whew.
It's gotta be you, mate.
No, that's good, we'll use that.
Especially when you wear that skirt for me.
Hey guys, welcome back. What are you doing? What are you doing?